Anyhow, hello out there, and welcome to Channel 36. WeHo West Hollywood. My name's Laraine Stuart, and my show is Between Takes. I'm the producer and host of the show. And right now, we're going to go into Fantasyland magic. And boy, we need a lot of magic. What we've gone through this year and everything. And I have the perfect guest, and I'm excited that he's with us today. And go ahead and start. And his name is Phil Van T.
Hi,
Phil.
Laraine, you pronounced it right at everything.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Here's Phil Van T reporting from Fantasyland. From now on, my Zoom shows are going to be titled Fantasyland, and you're to blame. I mean, I'm going to give you credit.
Oh,
By the way, I love your.
I hope it's a good credit.
Yeah, it is. I love your wizard outfit. All you need is a big pointy Merlin hat, and you're good to go.
Well, I thought the stars would be a little bit good connected with the fantasy and magic. That's it.
Good
I
choice.
got it real fast. So tell me, I want to know all about you. When someone goes into magic, anyhow, how did you feel? What decision did you make? How did this come about?
That's a much longer story than we have time for, but I'll try to give you the nutshell version of it. Emphasis on the nut. When I was a little kid, I taught myself how to draw cartoons. You may have seen one of my handiworks right there.
I saw that. I love it.
Just an example. But anyway, everything I've done since then has had something to do with cartoons. I was a puppeteer for a while. Puppets are 3D cartoons. I was a juggler. Juggling is the animation of objects.
Right.
The objects become a cartoon. I was a human cartoon for Eastern Onion singing telegrams, sort of an assassin in song form. I was in the circus as a clown. Ringling Brothers Clown College, class of
One of
70.
the greatest circuses, Ringling Brothers. It
Yeah,
was, right?
it's coming back, by the way.
Oh, it is?
They're rebooting it.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Yeah. We were sad to see it go a while back. But a clown is certainly a painted cartoon. Magic, to me, if it's well done, sleight of hand, looks to me like a cartoon. Stuff coming out of nowhere and getting bigger and changing colors and stuff. And what else? What did I leave out? I don't know. Stand-up comedy. I did about 15 years on the road as a headlining stand-up comic. Woody Allen called stand-up comedy, he called it verbal cartoons.
Oh, I like that. Yes, I like that.
Interesting, isn't it? How the theory holds up there. So,
what a background you have.
well,
It's so extensive.
constantly attempting to avoid any kind of real menial labor, and so you find all these things to distract you. I like to tell people I have cleverly eluded fame for over 4 decades. I think this show
Oh,
might.
you're too young for that.
Yeah, this show's going to ruin everything.
Wait, I want to ask you, excuse me. And you were at the Magic Castle here in Hollywood too, right? The
Yeah,
Magic Castle?
been a member there about 16 years or something like that. I used to be a professor of magic at Magic Castle University. Ooh, and
Wow.
that was a fun trip too. They just reopened on a short term, just for members. Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. They're going to be open for a couple months, experimenting to get back into the swing of things.
Right.
So,
That'll
we're-
be good. That'll be wonderful. Hey, I want to ask you something. Excuse me. How did you do all that? Were you married at the time? I know you're married now.
I'm on my third wife. No brag, just fact.
Did you juggle?
Uh, yeah, when I was married to my first wife, I was a juggler for 2 years at a amusement park in Ohio called Cedar Point, and that was my first showbiz job as a married man. That marriage didn't last a long time. She wasn't really into the hardships that an entertainer's life would bring. So got married again and again, and I might have got it right this time. Who knows?
Well, they say you keep trying, till you're successful. That's it. So I wish you
Yeah.
the best at that. Uh, who did you or who do you admire in your own eyes, the most fabulous magician in the world, past or present?
That's a big question you're asking
You ever
there.
have a favorite? I mean,
I've had my favorites to be sure, but most people don't know who they are. Comedy magicians did it for me more often than anything. You may remember, of course, Carl Ballantine. He was the one of the sailors on McHale's Navy. He was the con man sailor, and
right?
he performed for years before and after that as the Great Ballantine. He was a magician where nothing would go right for him, but he was just constantly commenting, self-deprecating humor, and all that. I patterned a lot of my stuff either consciously or unconsciously after that guy. There's a bunch of wonderful comedy magicians. My favorite, I guess, most recently is Chipper Lowell. He does a big stage show that's very funny, very high energy. When I first emailed him to thank him for his performance, I basically said, "Now that's the way to do comedy magic." When I was on the road as a stand-up comic, I never did the magic or the juggling because all the other comics call you a prop boy, and it's not a nice thing to get called. So, oh, here's
Really?
prop boy, you know. But those who did stick it out, Mac King, who's a Vegas star, he did comedy magic in all the comedy clubs, worked all the clubs that I did at different times, of course, and he took that exact same act and became a millionaire in Vegas from it, and he didn't have to change a thing. He just used the act that he built up in the comedy clubs. There's another guy out of Boston named Mike Bent. He was always
Uh-huh.
doing the magic, and Boston was especially hard on prop comics, but he stuck it out, and now he's one of the only guys who ever got to perform for Obama on the White House lawn. He's a professor of writing and comedy at Emerson University. Things went very well for him. Me, I chickened out and just did straight stand up in the clubs. I loved it. I learned a lot, and I still love just holding a microphone.
Isn't that difficult doing straight stand up? I mean,
Well,
harder.
it's a challenge. It's the highest highs and the lowest lows, if you will. But as a matter of fact, I'm retooling and going back into it in the near future. You
Uh-huh.
know, God,
Uh-huh.
God's willing, and the clubs actually open up full time again. But now I'll do a little bit more variety and little of this, little of that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Excuse me. I want to ask you. I remember David Copperfield. He made like the car disappear, things that people saw. And also, people are familiar when they think of magic and they go see shows, especially in Vegas, where uh, he puts the woman in this closet or a tunnel, okay, and then opens the door, she disappears. And I've been told, and you could tell me I'm right or wrong, that magicians never give their secrets away. Am I right or wrong?
well, there's a certain unspoken rule that yeah, you keep your trap shut because you know the art depends on it. But if you have a couple bucks, they'll sell you the secret. We're very mercenary, you know.
Oh,
What's the difference? The money. Yeah, that's
like
what
everything
it's.
else. True. Uh-huh.
That's
How
what
about Houdini? Now,
about,
I think because I read on Houdini and he's been going down for years and years and years because he did what no other person could do at that time, right? When he started.
yep, yep. He is still to this day the number one best known magician ever and ever, and that's you could attribute that to a number of different factors, but the extremely hard work and passion that he put into his art, that was definitely right up there with why he lives in our minds today. And at a time when there wasn't social media or anything like that, you know, he didn't. Granted, he didn't have to compete with 1,000,000,001 other magicians and entertainers, and you know, it's attention deficit TV here. But he he'll probably be up there in our minds for years and years to come because
Did he ever accomplish with that straight jacket? Did he ever get out of that?
no, he's still in it. They had to bury him in it. It's very sad. Of course he did. Yes, he got out of it thousands of times. He
Oh,
had
okay, okay,
boxes and trunks and everything else.
okay.
I do a tribute to Houdini, which is just a rope trick. Somebody gave me this gaudy fake Super Bowl ring, and so I tell people that's Houdini, and I got a big old piece of rope here. It might be an extension cord, I don't know, but you notice how Houdini is trapped on the rope. Uh, I made this story up myself. Magic for me, like I said, is just an excuse for telling jokes. So you could see that Houdini is actually sort of locked in place, and they put him in a trunk, and they wrap him around with rope, wrap the trunk with chains, and will Houdini ever get out? Well, in this case, he does. And
Oh my heavens.
thank you, Houdini. That's or New York Giants. I don't know anything about sports. When I was in high school, I was interested in drama and art. All the coaches probably figured I was gay and just left me alone. This,
What is the first magic trick that you did?
I fooled myself. I was a little tiny kid, and I didn't know if magic was real or not. But I knelt
That
down.
you learned good.
Say that again.
One that you did learn good through that.
Well, this was just me making up stuff like I do now, but I had no clue what the art was, or like I say, was magic real or not. I took a plastic tumbler, a brown plastic tumbler, and I took a Wonder Bread bag. You remember those?
Yeah, of
Plastic
course.
bag. I crumpled up the bag into a ball and I set it on the edge of my bed. I was leaning, like here's the surface of my bed, and I was looking at the ball. And I took the tumbler and I put it over the plastic bag. And I thought to myself, okay, disappear, disappear, disappear. I lifted it up and it was still there. I did that a couple times. I was just about to give up and I picked up the tumbler and the bag was gone. About 2 seconds later, it fell out of the tumbler. It had expanded in the tumbler just enough so when I lifted it up, it stuck in the tumbler. And then
Oh,
1,000, 2,000, it comes out. That was the end of my believing that magic was real.
oh,
But it was a valuable lesson in misdirection and how to how to how to gaff a cup or gimmick the cup, and so about 50 years later, here I am making tricks out of Trader Joe's coffee cups and balls of tape
well,
and
why not? If it works, why not? I want to ask you, did you ever have an assistant like some magicians do when they're on the road, a young lady assisting you? Like they do, she brings out a pigeon on her finger and then gives it to the magician.
no, I could never afford the assistance. I've always been working on a budget. I have countless times brought assistants on stage with me from the audience. One of the
Audience participation, I think, is so good. Yes.
sure, sure. I don't know if we'll ever get back to it after the pandemic, but like I said, we're still hopeful, aren't we? Uh,
Hopeful, we sure are, and we sure it will.
I've been
We're
working the
all
past.
positive about that. Do you ever use pigeons in your act at all?
No, no live animals. We live in a tiny little apartment. The theme of this, I think you can note, is that you're talking to a magician on a budget who always has been, sort of
Uh-huh.
a starving artist kind of guy. Not that I'm not real good at what I do, but I want to make sure everything I use and have is a fairly common object, and it's all sleight of hand. I don't use boxes or bags or trapdoors or anything like that. No trickery except what you see right here. And what I perform, even on my Zoom shows, is exactly as I would perform it for you live. That's the cool part. Not that I don't begrudge. I don't begrudge anyone their assistants and their big stage settings and
I
stuff.
understand. I
Sure,
understand.
it's
I love
beautiful.
you for verbalizing that and being so honest and everything.
Well,
That's
my mentality has almost always been. I used to do a lot of street shows, and what I could carry in a little canvas bag, that's what I presented. And I'm still doing that basically. My wife gives me one small closet and two drawers to put all my magic in. So it darn well better fit. And I actually can fit most of it in this man purse here. Okay, can you see what that says?
Let me
Academy of Magical Arts.
Oh,
That's
yes, I see
the
that.
Magic Castle. I
Yes.
found this. I found this in the parking lot.
I want to ask you, excuse me, how about with children? What do they like to watch you do?
Well, children like anything that's colorful, that has something to do with boogers or fart noises or green goo. Or they like silly, they like big broad stroke music, all that stuff. So I go in with a scowl on my face, and I don't give them any of that. I just make them. Well, that's not true. I give them excellent sleight of hand. I do a lot of silly sound effects, and my face always keeps making funny faces, and I let them help me. And kids love to be noticed, for God's sake. They're just small humans. Which of us at any age or size doesn't want to be noticed? And it's important to be a good listener and to respond to what they're saying at the moment. You could have a strong script or a strong framework of material, but as far as I'm concerned, you ought to be stepping out of that framework and away from that script every now and then to communicate and involve people in the moment. I try to do that not only when I'm there in their backyard or in their dining room or on a stage even, but I try to do that even in the Zoom shows, which is quite a challenge because, there's this thing here and it's a hello.
Well, that's an intriguing presentation. That's a good presentation. Explained very well, definitely.
If That's why I have a whole lot of really good Yelp reviews. No brag, just fact. Again, so may I share with you a little story trick?
Of course, come on, definitely.
Okay. It's another rope trick, all right, so deal with it. But rope is one of my favorite props. If you watch enough magicians, you will eventually see one who says, I will now teach you a trick. And of course, he never does. It's usually a sucker gag, and you shake your head and say, okay, you fooled me again, but he did say he would teach me a trick. So, I will now teach you a trick. Yeah.
Waiting.
This is the knot disappears from here and appears over here trick. It's I'm still working on the title. The acronym is huge. The knot disappears from here and ends up over here. I don't want you to see the method right away, so I'm going to start by doing it behind my back, okay? So it disappears from here and it appears over here. What do you think? Yeah, I know. It would be a lot better if I could disappear this one first, right?
Oh my goodness.
There is actually a way. You pluck it like a flower. See, I wish I had thought of that a second ago. Let's start over again, shall we? Remember when we just had one knot and it was over here, right? I'm getting nostalgic. And then we had one knot, and then I put it behind my back, and then we had two knots, right? Is
Right.
your memory the same as mine there? But we figured out how that was done. We had an extra knot. Am I correct?
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Oh my heavens.
Through that. This is one of my favorite parts now because this becomes a little bird puppet. Can you see the little?
Oh yes, yes, yes.
See his
Yes.
little bird butt there?
Amazing.
Shake your tail feather, birdie. Now this bird, in order to avoid predators, his neck gets a whole lot longer. He could see this way. He could see around a log or something like that. Sometimes his head disappears, which is very disconcerting for the bird. Sometimes his feet disappear, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Because his head, without a head, what good are your feet? I also do a snake puppet. Would you like to see the snake puppet?
Love it, love it.
Hey, that's it right there. Wait a minute. head on this snake, but there. Now, this is a yellow, that looks suspiciously like the bird head to me. This is a yellow bird-headed rope snake. Let's see here. Yellow, wrapped around a Caucasian log. I'm the Caucasian log. I do everything. And there's also two-headed yellow bird snakes. You only find those at the freak show, though. So basically, that's my favorite story trick. You could see where I try to add a little humor and again, magic is an excuse for me to tell jokes. But if you attribute a character to your prop and keep them colorful, kids, adults, kids of all ages will enjoy it. That's my opinion.
Like I said, it's so exciting and it's magical. I don't know how you do it.
I hope
Quick
not.
on the eye, quick on the eye, but that's your secret. What is your favorite trick? You have a favorite?
Well, that one would be pretty close, just because it's my own original invention. But I like them. I like them that are simple enough. I could just walk down the street and do it. That's why I put my cap on.
Okay.
I have my coin right there for a coin trick. Keep it up there with what you call coin Velcro.
Right.
That's my invention. I invented that coin Velcro. I'm looking for investors, by the way, if you want to go on Shark Tank with me. Coin Velcro. When I was a kid, wait a minute, let me put this here. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford coins. I used to use washers. I told everyone it was a coin skeleton. Coin skeleton. That's where did the coin go? Okay, don't think about it too hard. There's right there. Now, how do you make more Velcro? How do you make a coin skeleton? Well, ironically, you have to start with a coin, and then you add a little heat, a little garlic, and you end up with a coin skeleton. What's in your hand, Phil Van T? Nothing.
Ay, ay, ay.
So because it's right there or right here, I like that kind of stuff because I could just wander into a coffee shop and show somebody a magic trick. I like surprising people in their daily life. You wouldn't believe what I saw kind of experience. This coin is a traveling coin. It's going to travel from here down my arm and out my elbow. Was that too fast?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Do it again. They say you should never do the same trick twice in front of an audience. Don't care. It travels from here down my arm and out my elbow.
Ay, ay, ay.
Finally, wait a minute, this goes back up on the balcony there. Coin skeleton Velcro. It's a variation. All right. Finally, if you want to make your own coin, you take a few molecules of coin. You can't see it because you're not a wizard like me. I'm not even a wizard like me. Okay.
Oh, you're a wizard.
Add a little there. Add a little heat. Does it go over here? Where's the coin? Oh, it's on that side. Coin Velcro. Add a little heat through friction to those molecules. Get them to expand. Stretch them. Pull them like taffy. That's how you make a coin. That's how I would do it if someone said, how do you make a coin, Phil Van T? And this isn't magic. This is just sort of science juggling. This is called centripetal force. Centripetal force. I am the science magician. 2 coins, 3. Do I have 3 coins? 3 coins in the fountain. Ha! There. Nobody can do it with 3. Luckily, I'm nobody.
There you go.
I sent a videotape of this to my mom in North Carolina. Mom, what do you think? She says, well, that's all right if that's what you want to do. Did you even try to look for a job today? I'm fielding some offers. Okay, and finally, this is 3 coins up the sleeve and down the sleeve, balanced again. I'm the only guy that does that.
Oh, my heavens.
That was a long
That's,
answer.
that's a wow.
That was a long answer to your
I'm going to
question.
ask you, excuse me, how did she feel when you went into magic, your mom?
She literally had that exact same attitude. If that's what you want to do, that's okay with me. And then when I moved to LA, she said, as long as you keep your clothes on. So that was that was the only other requirement that she had of me there.
Oh my goodness gracious. You know, some other people would say, no, magic, forget it, forget it. But I think more people today are prone and would enjoy watching the magic because of what we've been going through and everything. And what is believable, what is not believable. And it's the, like I said, I'll use that word intrigue and the mystery of magic. And I think that's why the kids and people like it. There's the mystery of it because we don't know the answer. And we're trying to figure that out and we're guessing. One person's asking the other, what do you think you did? Oh, no, no, I don't believe what you said and everything.
It's a, it's
But
a it's a part of the human condition to want to puzzle things out and figure them out. But it's all. I'll just add what you said is beautiful. But I'll just add that it takes all of us back for that briefest moment. It takes all of us back to when we maybe thought that magic might have could have been real. Maybe So
right.
I think that's what the key is for most people loving it. Not everyone does, mind you. I'm teaching my grandson magic now. My wife calls it child abuse.
How,
It,
how old is he? How old is he, Phil?
oh, I don't know. We don't hang out much. He's actually he's 17 years old now,
Oh,
and
he's 17 now. Okay.
yep. But my point is,
Is he going into magic or
oh,
as
it's
in
just something he'll
hobby?
do for fun. It's no, he's got computer skills and he's got a lot going for him, and I'm kind of glad because magic, unless you're famous and rich and all that, magic is a pauper's life. I don't whine. I absolutely love what I do. I'm coming up on Medicare age, and I still every time I'm getting ready for a show, this one included, I just get excited. It's like, oh, I get to do this again. Whereas my wife, she says, if I had known you were a magician when we met, we wouldn't have met. I love you too, baby. Yeah, but when we met, I was just doing stand-up comedy, and she loved that.
What is, has anything been a surprise that popped up maybe with an audience when you were doing magic that you didn't expect at all? Or maybe
Oh,
somebody in the audience did something that was unexpected?
well, that's happened thousands of times because you can never tell what's going to happen at a live show. But mostly because I've done close to, I'd say, about 18,000 shows. That's just a rough estimate, but it's probably more than that. Because I've done that many, I've probably come across most situations that are going to happen. So I won't say they surprise me so much, but there's variations on the things that might happen with what an audience will do, will say, how they'll react, how they won't react. Um, the most pleasant surprises I get, and again, I've seen it before, but it just never fails to at least amuse me and sometimes surprise me, is the different levels of reactions, the different types of wide-eyed wonder that you see in kids when I do kids shows. Um, the most recent surprises, I have to go back a year and a half because my most recent live show was right before the pandemic. But we were already in an age a couple years ago. We were already in an age where it's not appropriate to hug a kid or to hold a kid or anything like that. There was a time when I started that nobody batted an eyelash. Show affection. But now you have to be very careful, and everybody wants to know their kid is safe. But whenever a kid will just be so open to what I've done and love it so much that they'll come running up to me and hug around my legs like two tree trunks, and then of course I'm allowed to at least pat their head or give them a pat on the back. But when anything like that happens, and I've been sitting down sometimes when say a little girl who enjoyed the show, she was shy the whole time, wasn't saying much, but at the end of the show, she'd run forward and give me a big hug around the chest. And you start by receiving the hug, and then you'll give her a little pat.
Oh, that's so fulfilling.
Oh my goodness, is it a
Oh my goodness.
it takes
Yeah.
you back to when you have your own kids, but in this case, it was a visceral reaction to the little play that I put on, the little theatrical play where I'm playing the part of a magician and cartoon-like things are happening. And to get a hug out of nowhere like that, even if you have to be careful in a situation like that, it still goes straight to your heart.
Oh, definitely. It reaches you. Yeah, we have to feel today with the computers, and we're lacking so much of the personal touch. And like you said, when a youngster comes up and embraces you because she loves what you're doing, you're making her happy or him happy. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful emotion. I think it's great.
The other really neat surprise happens after the show, long after the show. I did a Zoom show for a magic student of mine who is older than I am, but she's a really good student and she loves to keep learning, and she's a teacher for elementary. And she has been continuing to teach on Zoom like we're doing. And so she said, how do you do Zoom shows and make people like them? She says, all the Zoom shows I've seen with magic, I just don't like them. I said, you'll have to see me do one sometime. I said, let's do one for your class. She said, oh, I couldn't pay you. I said, no, just make it happen. I'll be there. And so we got her class there, and the class, the families were there too. Every computer that signed on was right
Right.
at home. And I said, I'll start about 30 minutes. And she says, you can keep their attention that long? I said, I just did a show for a 6-year-old and did an hour just for that one kid and his grandpa who hired me. But the point is, I started at 30, I went to 45. We did close to an hour for these kids. And I thought, okay, that was a wonderful experience for them. For me, I got to have some fun. I got to work out some new bits. And I thought, okay, they were real sweet. They thanked me. That's it. Well, 2 days later, I started getting messages. I forget. I think it was an email. It might have been a text. It doesn't matter. They were JPEGs of pictures and letters that the kids had drawn and written to me. And the pictures were all what they remembered
Oh, how wonderful.
of me doing magic. They were kind of crude,
How,
but
how
very
wonderful.
sweet.
I was going to ask you, do you do anything for the schools? You
Not,
know,
not
because they do so
anything.
many things with my grandson goes to school during the week, and then he has the day of virtual too. I was just going to ask you that, and you just came up and told me this, which was wonderful.
Yeah, I'll work for anyone who wants to hire me and have in almost any situation. There's very few gigs that I would turn down, unless they wanted a big fancy stage show, and then I have to tell them, no, I'm not the right guy, but I can refer you to someone who's excellent at that.
You know who you would be good for? The elderly in the independent facilities and the nursing homes. Oh, Phil, you would be wonderful to
I
go
do
in there.
shows every month for them. I'm working with an outfit called Senior Streams out of Sacramento, and I do show. Pardon me, I'm getting a chair ready. Speaking of being elderly, I'm only allowed to stand up for about 20 minutes. So
Okay,
watch
please.
the elevator. I'm in an elevator. It's only this big. What does this button do? Let's find out.
I want you to
Oh,
be
going down.
comfortable. Okay.
Going down. First floor, sporting goods. Second floor, ladies lingerie. Third floor, penthouse. Everybody out. See, now my doctor will be happy because I'm sitting down for a few minutes. My point was, yeah, I am doing a lot of Zoom shows every month for the senior facilities and hope to get back to them live in the near future. I had a little back operation recently, so I'm not allowed to perform out in public again until July. But
May I say that you look, after surgery, you look tremendous.
Well, thanks. That's from here up, isn't it? I
No,
won't
really.
show you my big belt I'm wearing and you know all the special walking stick and all that stuff. But it almost right out of surgery, I said to the doctor, "Can I at least sit in front of a computer and do this stuff?" He said, "Sure." He says, "But you're not allowed to sit for a long time or stand for a long." Okay, that's why my wife built me this hydraulic table. She says, "Okay, up and down. Now you're good to go."
How lucky you are. And also hospitals. Excuse me. Hospitals are another good place. Have you done hospitals?
Oh yeah, I used to do a lot of
Children's hospital?
strolling. Used to do a lot of strolling magic at the VA over in Westwood,
Uh-huh.
uh, for exactly that reason. It's a it's sort of a non-invasive kind of. It doesn't get right in people's face if they don't want to. You could do it from afar,
Right?
from a few feet away, and just do a little bit of it if you think that's all they can take. And if they're really digging it, then you could do a little more. It works for all ages. Magic is quite a wonderful art. Uh, it's just so colorful and so interesting.
Okay. I was just going to ask you, in your words, how would you define magic? And you just said those words. And if somebody said to you, you know, oh, what you do, I mean, it looks real, but it doesn't make me happy or anything like that. People like that are so negative, right?
Well, I won't say that they're negative about everything, but I've learned a few stories that make me take it more with a grain of salt. Initially, you might say, "Oh, you don't want to see me. Oh, you're stuck up." Or no, it's usually someone who is approached by a magician, and they either made fun of them or they embarrassed them when they brought them on stage. And now my job, many years later, is made all the more difficult because some performer didn't have the heart to treat their volunteer with dignity and on an equal basis. Um,
And
this to
that
this
is
day, if
so,
I see that,
so important.
oh, to this
But
day, if I see that happen with any performer interacting with an audience member, even in stand-up comedy, where you're just picking on someone because you don't have an act, but your act is making fun of the audience. The only guy I ever saw get away with that was Don Rickles, you know, and
oh,
he,
Rickles got away with murder so many times. There was
yeah,
nothing like Rickles, I know.
yep.
Really good. But anyhow, really, such a pleasure. And how interesting you were today. And I wish you nothing but the best. I want you to heal fast, get a lot of work, and keep carrying your magic castle bag. And what words will you tell our public, people watching the show, about magic again? How we'll close the show about magic?
I'll put it in a song, and which is really weird for a magician, I know, but
Oh,
watch this. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. I promise that's all the singing I'll do. These aren't real stars.
that's enough. And that is great.
Thank you. And we'll cut this one in half like a cosmic amoeba and end with a little
My
showmanship.
heavens.
Thank
Oh,
you, Laraine. Thank you.
I am mesmerized by that. I'm mesmerized by that.
Me
You're
too.
wonderful. You're wonderful. Thank you so much, Phil Van T, for being on Between Takes, Channel 36, The WeHo Show. And Laraine Stuart is signing off, producer and host, saying, what a pleasure.
Thank you, Laraine.
Hope I see you again. And the best to you. God bless.